Have you ever wondered why it suddenly seems like you've completely lost a woman's respect? Many guys fall into the trap of believing that the key to gaining her respect is to constantly please her, being as kind and generous as possible, showering her with gifts, attention, and empty promises. But let me tell you a truth that will hurt. This approach is not only ineffective, it's the quickest way to dig your own emotional grave. In this video, we're going to destroy this pathetic illusion that you can buy a woman's respect. I'll show you how to put an end to the disdain she has for you, and even better, how to make her bitterly regret her actions. Get ready, because what you're going to learn here isn't for the weak. It's for those ready to reclaim their dignity and put this woman in her place. Let's get started. Number 1, the well has run dry. Let's talk seriously. No beating around the bush. You, my friend, have been the main culprit in feeding the disdain this woman feels for you. And how do you do it? By treating her like a queen, throwing at her feet all kinds of gifts, attention, and empty promises. And why? Because you naively and pathetically believe that by doing this, you'll win back the respect she threw in the trash a long time ago. Let me be clear. This strategy of yours is a total disaster. Every time you open your wallet to fund this woman's whims, every time you dedicate your time and energy to pleasing her, you're teaching her that she can manipulate you at will. You're showing her that disdain is an effective weapon for getting everything she wants from you. She has learned through your actions that all it takes is a little indifference and coldness, and there you go, running like a submissive puppy with another offering in hand. And she will keep playing this game as long as you allow it. Now, pay attention. A woman who needs to be bought to treat you with respect is not only dishonest, she is a cold and calculating player. She knows exactly what she's doing, and by continuing to invest in her, you're digging your own emotional grave. But see, there's still time to turn this game around. And how do you do that? It's simple, but it requires a courage you might have let rust. Stop. Simply stop. Stop spending your money, your time, and your energy on someone who clearly doesn't value you. When you dry up the well, you take away her power to manipulate you. And when she realizes that her tricks no longer work, she'll be lost, not knowing how to act. She'll wonder what the hell happened, why you suddenly aren't falling into the traps that always worked. And it's at that exact moment that the game turns. The one who starts to have the advantage is you. A man who knows how to differentiate genuine interest from money-driven interest is a man who won't be fooled. And this emotional intelligence is what you need to cultivate and apply now. Stop being the ATM, the provider, the doormat for a woman who only knows how to despise you. Because as long as you continue down this path, you're signing your own sentence for continuous disdain. She will get used to disrespecting you whenever she needs something, and the fault, my dear friend, will be all yours. So cut this off at the root now. Stop trying to buy the respect and affection of someone who should never have had the power to treat you this way. Number 2, show disinterest. From a young age, we're taught that bad behavior should be ignored, while good behavior should be celebrated. It's a basic life rule that applies to everything from training a dog to dealing with the people around us. But for some reason, when it comes to relationships, many men forget this simple and essential lesson. When a woman starts treating you with disdain, what do? You chase after her, desperately trying to regain what's already been lost. Let me tell you something. This is a monumental mistake, and I'll explain why. Showing disinterest is one of the most powerful weapons you have at your disposal, but few know how to use it correctly. When you chase after a woman who despises you, you're essentially reinforcing her behavior, showing her that no matter how badly she treats you, you'll always be there, ready to beg for attention. This, my friend, is a huge flaw. What you should be doing instead is showing total disinterest, not just in her behavior, but in the person she's becoming in the relationship. This forces deep reflection in her because no one likes to be ignored, especially when they're used to having total control over the situation. And here's the reality. Often the disdain you receive isn't something spontaneous. She might be influenced by advice from friends or even by gurus on the internet who teach tactics to keep men in the palm of their hands without much effort. But you know what's even better? When you ignore these mental games and distance yourself, she realizes that her tactics are failing miserably. She starts to understand that disdain, instead of keeping you close, is actually pushing you away. And that, my dear friend, is a hard blow to her ego. The more you ignore, the more power you gain. And it's exactly at this point that the magic happens. She starts to feel that she's losing control of the situation, and this drives her to desperation. She chases after you, not because she changed overnight, but because she realizes that the only way to keep you around is by reconsidering her actions. At this moment, you become the master of the game, the only one who truly has the power to decide how things will unfold from here on out. If you really want to learn how to make a woman chase after you, desperate for your attention, the path is simple. Stop giving attention to those who don't deserve it. Show, with your actions, that you're not a toy she can manipulate at will. And believe me, when she realizes she's lost you, she will regret it bitterly. In the end, the one who needs her, or rather, the respect she should have for you is her. Don't forget that. Number 3, move on. Now, here's the truth that many men simply refuse to face. A woman despises you because she feels she has complete control over you. She sees that you're emotionally dependent and can play with your feelings as she pleases. And let me tell you, that's the biggest mistake you can make. If you want to end this toxic cycle once and for all, you need to show her and yourself that you're not stuck to anything, that you have options, and that you're more than willing to use them if necessary. Most men fall into the trap of showing that they're always available and emotionally dependent on the woman, feeding her security and continuing to despise you. If you really want to change this dynamic, you need to take a firm stance. Make it clear that you're looking for something serious, real, and that you won't tolerate games. If she wants to waste time with these childish antics, let her be alone. You, on the other hand, will move on and look for someone who is aligned with your values and with what you want for the future. This attitude is liberating. It not only puts you back in control, but it also sends an extremely clear message. You know what you want, and you won't settle for less. If this woman isn't interested in truly being with you, she'll leave you free to find someone who is. This is about respecting yourself, your dignity, and your worth as a person. And if she really cares about you, she'll realize that disdain and games are only pushing you away into the arms of someone who truly values you. Showing that you're willing to move on, to keep going forward, is not just a tactic to scare her. It's a powerful declaration that you respect yourself enough not to accept less than you deserve. And that's exactly what a woman respects in a man. The ability to stand firm in his convictions, not to bend to emotional manipulations. When she realizes that you're no longer willing to be a toy in her hands, the dynamic changes. And if she really wants to be with you, she'll have to start treating you with the respect you deserve. So, lay your cards on the table. If she's not willing to treat you with the respect you demand, you have every right and duty to seek out someone who will. Because in the end, the most important person in this story is you, and you deserve to be with someone who values who you are, not someone who despises you and treats you as a disposable option. Move on and don't look back. If you want to learn how to use psychological tricks to get into this woman's mind and make her act the way you expect, seeking you out and thinking only of you, read the digital book that's in the description of this video. After reading it, you'll learn how to use your cold side to deeply affect this woman and master the art of seduction. Stop being a doormat and start being the man she truly values. Number 4, reclaim your personal power. When you allow yourself to be swayed by a woman's disdain, you're doing something far more serious than it seems. You're handing over your personal power to her. You're putting yourself in a position of total vulnerability, where she starts controlling your emotions and decisions. But there comes a moment when you need to make a crucial decision. Reclaim what is rightfully yours, the control of your own life. And this reclamation begins by understanding an undeniable truth. No one, absolutely no one, has the right to treat you as a second option or as someone unworthy of respect. Reclaiming your personal power is vital, and that means reassessing your priorities and redefining your boundaries. Stop allowing her disrespectful behavior to dictate what you do or don't do. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, least of all to a woman who chooses to despise you. What you need to do is remember who you are and the value you hold, regardless of what she thinks or says. This doesn't mean you should be rude or vengeful. It means that you should indeed take the reins of your life and stop accepting less than you deserve. When you make yourself a priority, you start seeing things much more clearly. And it's at this moment that you realize a powerful truth. The only person who can decide your worth is yourself. From the moment you reclaim your personal power, her disdain loses any effect on you. And guess what? It's at this exact moment that she'll realize she's lost the control she thought she had over you. And here's the key point. By reclaiming your personal power, you start attracting people who truly respect and value you for who you are. People who don't need to despise you to feel superior. This is the path to true emotional freedom and to building healthy relationships based on mutual respect. So do what needs to be done. Take back control of your life, rediscover your worth, and leave behind those who didn't know how to respect you. When you do this, you'll realize that the most important person in this story was always you. And with your personal power back, you'll attract the respect and admiration you always deserved. Number 5, show total indifference. One of the most powerful weapons you can use against a woman's disdain is total indifference. And when I say total, I mean total. It's not enough to pretend you don't care. You need to genuinely not care. I know this isn't easy, especially when you still have feelings for her. But here's the truth you need to understand. Indifference is a powerful tool that puts you back in control of the situation. When a woman realizes that her actions no longer affect you, she panics. Why? Because she's used to manipulating your emotions, to seeing you chase after her at every sign of disdain. But when you become indifferent, this dynamic completely changes. Suddenly, she no longer has the power she used to have over you. And this, my friend, is a direct blow to her ego. Total indifference means you don't respond to provocations. You're not shaken by her attitudes. And most importantly, you don't seek validation or approval. You simply go on with your life as if her actions have no importance at all. And that's when things start to change. She'll realize that she's losing the control she thought she had. And with that, the power dynamic reverses. Now, you're the one who decides whether to continue or not, no longer her. This attitude of indifference also forces her to rethink the way she's been treating you. She'll realize that if she continues with the disdain, she'll end up losing you for good. And believe me, no one likes to lose something they considered guaranteed. So keep up the indifference because it's the key to reclaiming your dignity and eventually the respect you deserve. Show her that you're no longer her emotional puppet. You're a man who knows his worth and won't bow down to cheap manipulations. When she realizes she's truly lost you, she'll be the one chasing after you. Number 6, build your life outside the relationship. One of the biggest mistakes men make is centering their entire life around a relationship, especially when they're being despised.
They believe that if they focus all their energy on trying to save the relationship, they'll manage to win back the woman and make her respect them again.
But let me tell you something. This is a dangerous trap you need to avoid at all costs. The truth is, the more you center your life around the relationship, the more power you give to the woman who despises you. She sees that you're willing to sacrifice everything to try to please her, and this only fuels the disdain she feels for you. So what you should do is the exact opposite. Start building your life outside the relationship. Invest in yourself, in your interests, in your career, in your hobbies. Strengthen your friendships. create new connections, expand your horizons. When you do this, not only do you regain the self-esteem that might have been shaken by the disdain, but you also send a clear message to the woman. You don't depend on her to be happy or to feel fulfilled. And there's more. By building a rich and satisfying life outside the relationship, you become a more interesting and attractive person, not just to other women, but even to the one who despised you. She'll realize that you're no longer willing to be the center of her manipulations, and this might make her rethink her actions. But the most important thing here isn't the effect this has on her, it's the impact it has on you. By building a life outside the relationship, you regain the strength and clarity needed to decide what's truly best for you. And if this woman doesn't fit into your future, you'll be more than prepared to move on with dignity and without looking back. Build a life that makes you happy regardless of any relationship. When you put yourself first and create a life worth living, you not only free yourself from disdain, but also become the kind of man anyone would be lucky to have by their side. And the best part? You'll never again need to beg for anyone's respect. Number 7, don't be afraid to let go. This is perhaps the hardest step, but also the most liberating. Don't be afraid to let this woman go. Often the disdain you're facing is a clear sign that the relationship has come to an end, and continuing to insist will only bring you more pain and suffering. But the fear of losing, of being alone, often prevents us from seeing what's right in front of us. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up or being weak. On the contrary, it means you're strong enough to recognize that you deserve more, that you deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. And if this woman isn't willing to offer that, then it's time to move on. The fear of letting go usually comes from an internal insecurity, the belief that you'll never find anyone better, or that you'll be alone forever. But here's the truth. By letting go, you make room for new opportunities, to meet people who truly value you, and who want to be with you for who you are, not for what you can offer. And you know what's even more interesting? Often, when you finally let go, when you release what you were holding on to with so much fear, that's when the woman realizes what she lost. She'll feel the void of your absence, and if there's still something genuine in her, she'll regret the disdain and actions that led you to this decision. But in the end, letting go is more about you than about her. It's about freeing yourself from a situation that doesn't do you any good, that only drains your energy and prevents you from being happy. So don't be afraid. Letting go could be the beginning of a new and better phase in your life. Be brave enough to let go of what no longer serves you, and you'll see how life will take care of bringing you something much better. And above all, remember, you're never really alone. By freeing yourself, you're opening up to new possibilities, new connections, and most importantly, to a life where you're valued for who you truly are. Number 8, choose yourself. We've reached the final point, the hardest blow, and the most important decision you'll ever make. Choose yourself. In this whole process of trying to regain respect, reclaim your dignity, and deal with disdain, there's a brutal truth that few have the courage to face. You should never have to fight so hard to be valued by someone. The choice you need to make now isn't about her. It's not about whether she will change or realize what she lost. The choice is about you. You've spent too much time trying to please, fix, and mend something that, deep down, might not have even been worth that much effort. And the raw truth, which might be hard to swallow, is that you should have chosen yourself from the very beginning. Yes, it's easy to get lost in trying to win the affection of someone who only gives you disdain. But the real strength, the real victory, is in realizing that you don't need that. You don't need the love or validation of someone who doesn't see your worth. Choosing yourself is the most powerful and definitive act you can do. It means that you finally understood your value, that you're no longer willing to negotiate your dignity, your self-respect, for scraps of attention. When you choose yourself, you send a clear and relentless message to the universe. I am enough. I am whole. And I will only accept in my life what enriches, respects, and values me. This is the true final blow. When you choose yourself, you close the door to all the toxicity, all the disrespect, all the emotional games that have drained you for so long. And by doing this, you truly set yourself free. The freedom to be who you are, to seek what you truly deserve, and not to settle for less. Choosing yourself is the beginning of a new journey where you are the protagonist, where your needs, your dreams, and your well-being are the priorities. And it's in this moment of clarity and strength that everything changes. Because when you choose yourself, there's no more room for those who despise you. And who stays out? Who gets left behind? Only those who didn't deserve to be by your side. So, end this cycle in the best possible way. Choose yourself without hesitation, without looking back. Because in the end, you're the only one who will be with you forever. And you deserve more than anything to be treated as the most important person in your life. We've reached the end of this journey, and now it's time to face the truth with all the clarity and strength you have. The respect, dignity, and value you seek in any relationship don't come from how others treat you, but from how you decide to treat yourself. If you've learned anything today, I hope it's this. You shouldn't have to fight for something that should already be yours by right. The most powerful choice you can make is to choose yourself. There is no greater victory than that. When you put yourself first, when you stop accepting less than you deserve, the world around you begins to change. The people who don't value you will move away, and those who truly see your worth will come closer. It's a change that starts from within, and only you can take that step. Remember, the power is in your hands, and your life is yours to be shaped in whatever way you want. If this video has helped you see things in a different way, don't forget to leave your like, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to the channel for more content that gets straight to the point. The change begins with a choice, and that choice is in your hands. Don't be afraid to be the protagonist of your life. See you in the next video, and remember, you deserve to be the most important person in your story.